Let's go. Clear for takeoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the SHIPIT Nation Showdown show here. We're talking the London game between the Ravens and the Titans. Sunday morning, 9:30 Eastern is the game time. So not the most exciting game. Obviously, the total in this one's sitting at 41.5. Baltimore favored by 4. I'd say two pretty lackluster offenses, but, they put out solid prize pools for this game, specifically on DraftKings. FanDuel a little bit smaller in terms of the contest, but on DraftKings, 100K to first. So we're obviously going to cover it. We'll go through, find some plays, find some angles, and build towards that goal, get to the top of the leaderboard. If you are not a member at SHIPIT Nation, we launched a 5-day trial for $19. You get full access to the website. NFL, obviously, all our main slate content. You'll get the content for this Sunday morning game, MLB playoffs, PGA, MMA is back this weekend, and NHL started as well, and then NBA right around the corner. So for $19, a 5-day mission gets you full access to the site. So get on over there, check it out. Also, please do me the favor, hit the like button and subscribe for this video. Helps us out a ton in trying to grow this channel, where we'll continue to produce quality free content. So appreciate all the support so far, and let's just keep that momentum going. In terms of this game, it's it's pretty difficult. So we'll start at the captain position and see if anything stands out there. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is going to be a guy to consider in the captain spot. By far the highest projection on the slate, highest upside. There's just not a ton of appealing fantasy options for this game, so he's immediately going to be a guy to consider. He's substantially more expensive. In the captain spot, it's 19.2. The next closest guy is Derrick Henry at 15,000 flat, but Jackson is definitely a guy to consider. Derrick Henry, I think you can make the case for. He's only had one game, I'd say. Yeah, one game so far this season where you would need him, in the captain spot, and that was the Cincinnati week 4, where they just blew out the Bengals. I mean, it's always going to be the spot for Derrick Henry when you can project them to be playing with the lead or far ahead. This week, I don't know if that's necessarily the case. Tough click for me in that captain spot. DeAndre Hopkins, though, I think is definitely appealing. He's finally starting to see that relationship develop between him and Tannehill. 11 targets last week, 8 catches, 140 yards. No Treylon Burks again. He's been solid overall, I'd say, this season. 10 targets here, definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. So he's a guy I think we can consider in the captain. Not much Tannehill here for me. The upside just isn't there. Just a lot of ho-hum performances. I don't think he's a captain play for us. It's going to be a tight group for me at captain. Mark Andrews, we can definitely include there. When you're playing guys in the captain, skill position guys, you want them to have the 2 touchdown upside, and he does have it. And even last week, didn't have a phenomenal game, but still got the 10 targets, 6 catches, 65 yards. If he finds the end zone, he could be the optimal captain in that sort of game that he had last week. So good with him there. He's only 13.5. I think is a good price tag. And then the last guy I'll consider in the captain, it's not a comfortable play, would be Zay Flowers. 11 targets last week, and this is the 3rd time where he's had at least 10 targets in the first 5 games. So there is certainly some upside. He has the big play stuff. He hasn't found the end zone yet. If he finds it, he's, again, could be a guy that you need in the captain. So few captain plays here that I'll be targeting: Lamar Jackson, Hopkins, Andrews, Flowers. And then I just don't think this is a slate where we want to go cheap in the captain spot. It just does not make a ton of sense to me. So likely not going to be playing any cheap captains. It's going to be those 5 right there that I kind of mentioned. Let's go over and we'll talk some flex and see kind of what stands out. We'll go by salary. How about that? We'll go to flex, sort by salary, and then kind of just talk about everyone in this group. Lamar Jackson, obviously, if you're not playing him in captain, want him in flex. He should be in a majority of your teams. He's the most expensive, but the safest play by far. Derrick Henry, with a guy like Henry in this sort of situation, what I like doing is just putting in the fair projection. If he hits my teams, he hits them. I just don't know if I necessarily want to force him in at all. Not at all. I don't know if I want to force him in my teams. If he hits them, I'm cool with it. Hopkins, definitely. Tannehill, don't love him as a captain play, but definitely on board for flex. Same with Andrews, who, we talked about. I do like him in the captain, but I want him in flex. Same with Zay Flowers in the flex as well. Tajay Spears, interesting play just because of these numbers over here. 4 targets, 2 targets, 4, 4, 5. If they're trailing, which they could be in this game, he's going to be out there a lot. 7-4, not a great price tag. We don't love that for Spears, but definitely interested there. Odell Beckham, not a ton of interest. Not really projecting all that well for me in this spot. I mean, he's 6'2". I mean, he'd probably have to find the end zone, to be honest with you. I don't really love him. We're not going to be on the backup quarterbacks, obviously. The flex plays below them, Burks is out. Let's see. We have Nelson Aguilar, not a ton of interest there. Again, in Lamar Jackson captain teams, I think he's been playing the same with Odell Beckham. Lamar Jackson captain plays, yeah, sure, we can play him there. Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, fine to mix in there. Don't really necessarily love either. Wouldn't play them in the same lineup together, so make sure those guys are kind of separated. We have Chig. Our guy Chig just never gets there for us. I've played Chig a ton so far, and he just never gets there. Even with Burks out, you'd expect him to do more. The one encouraging thing, 9 targets last week. 9 targets. So if they're playing from behind, he has the big target upside. I definitely prefer him the most out of all these guys, like Aguilar, Hill, Edwards. Give me Chig, and he's cheaper. So I'm good with Chig at $5K. Kickers and defenses this week, we'll kind of lump all them together. Justin Tucker, Ravens D, Folk, Titans. These defenses just continue to get the job done on showdowns. It happened again for this Thursday night game. Chiefs defense, you needed them. I'm going to side with the kickers again. Tucker's always one of my favorite kickers to play. He's just so steady. They're willing to kick the field goals. Folk, I'm fine with 2 at 4-2. And then with the defenses, I'll kind of do the same thing that I normally do. I'll just put in a modest projection. If they hit, they hit. And that's how I'll handle those 2 spots. More cheap guys, Westbrook Akine at 2.6, I think is a very fine option. Prefer him over Bateman when we come down a little bit. So Westbrook Akine over Bateman for sure. Akine he's had games. Let's pull it up. Had that 16 fantasy point game against Cincinnati. 5 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown. All it's going to take here. These guys find the end zone. You're going to need them. So in on him. Let's see any other cheap options that we have. There's 2, I think, full punts, $200 plays that we can look at. The first one is going to be, let's see if I can find him on here. Chris Moore, $200 flat. Didn't do anything last week, but the 2 previous weeks, 3 targets. When you're playing a $200 guy, just need opportunity. He provides that at 200. And then the other guy that I wanted to touch on is, what's his price? Why am I not seeing him here? We'll just punch it in. Somewhere in there. Kyle Phillips, $200. 1 target last week. Obviously did not convert that to a catch, but $200. Definitely keep him in the player pool for the Sunday morning game. But again, you want to kind of cap those guys. You don't want a ton of Chris Moore or Kyle Phillips here at $200 flat. So it's kind of where I'm at, looking at 5 captains potentially this week. Just to summarize, Lamar Jackson, Hopkins, Andrews, Flowers, so maybe 4. I don't really want Derrick Henry or Tannehill, so Jackson, Hopkins, Andrews, Flowers, totally good with those guys. And then, kind of went through and talked about all the flex plays, prefer the kickers over defenses. This game is not super appealing. 41.5 total. Baltimore is favored by 4 in terms of a team spread. I'll probably be more, I don't know, actually, most of my teams will be pretty split. A lot of 4-2s and 3-3s. The problem with Baltimore, even if I do like them more, they just don't have a lot of relevant fantasy pieces. Actually, I could see myself having more Titans, 4-2 type builds now that I kind of think about it. So that's kind of where we're at here for the London game, Sunday morning, 9:30 Eastern start. We'll have our full complement of content going up for the NFL main slate. We'll have cores for this slate as well. And then the Sunday morning show, 9:45 Eastern, myself, Tambo, Title on the Mayo Media Network. So make sure you guys get on over there and join us in on the fun and, finding some winners there Sunday morning. So good luck to everyone in your contest. And I'll be back. Hoop 2410 out of here. Good luck in your contest this week.